Spider-Man 2 is out today, and I already have the Platinum. Do you mean the Spider-Man 2 where Craven is a villain, and you can play as both Peter and Miles? Oh wait, you mean Spider-Man 2 on PS5, which is critically acclaimed, and will most likely be regarded as one of the best superhero games ever made? Yeah, sorry, I'm talking about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 from 2014, which is not so acclaimed.
Huh?
And I do agree with the public, this game is not great, but I unironically like the film, and it was cool to take a look at the last Spider-Man game before Insomniac took over. For the Platinum, we basically just need to beat the game on hard and hard to percent it. Hard mode is easy, and the game is fairly simple and short until we get to the grind. The game starts on the night Uncle Ben died, and then we get a scene which somehow made it into Across the Spider-Verse. The game starts proper with Peter on top of the Chrysler building, and we get a very similar opening to the Insomniac game. It's honestly quite weird how similar the games are. It feels like Beanox got the formula down but failed on the execution, and then Insomniac perfected it. The combat is similar too, but I think most people would argue it came from the Arkham games. Square to attack and counter enemies with triangles. And like I said, playing on hard is easy for the most part. So easy that I actually had to double check I was on hard after the first fight. The game starts with you helping out random civilians, and you might recognise one of them.
Much obliged, Spidey.
Anytime, Stan.
Stan Lee owns a local comic book shop, and I know he's like an actual comic character, and I'm sure people like him, but in 2023, after sadly watched the movie twice now, my eyes kept going to all these Morbius comics in the background. Playing this game 7 years after it came out is quite cool. If I played this at launch, I would have no clue who Silver Sable is, but obviously from Spider-Man 2018, I know who she is now. The main collectible in the game is comic pages, and when you get enough you can actually unlock real comics in the shop. This is so cool, but I'll stick to Marvel Unlimited for now. There's 300 pages total and you need 285. Luckily they're everywhere and I got them all casually. I was scared it would be like an infamous blast shard situation where I'd have one left and be looking for it all day, but it ended up being fine.
I've been looking for this.
After following this blood into the alley, we found our first hint of who the main villain is in this game. Because the game came out the same day as the film, they most likely didn't get a script or get to work with Mark Webb or the writers, and because of this, the game is very loosely based on the film, and by that I mean hardly at all. For example, Gwen isn't in the game at all. For some reason, the game has a karma system, and we got our first trophy for maxing out our good karma. I defeated our first boss in Shocker. Now, the story didn't grab me at all, so I'm not going to cover it, and I don't mean this in necessarily a negative way, since it gets the job done, but it felt more like a cameo fest than an actual cohesive story that you'd remember for years to come. Now we had unlocked this upgrade to make comics appear in the map, which makes them much easier to collect. This side activity is called a deadlock, which is basically a bunch of guys shooting guns at each other, but they're so preoccupied that this is actually a good place to get stealth takedowns. And we met Craven for the first time.
Oh, I apologize for startling you. I am Craven.
Like I said, he's quite two-dimensional in this game, but it did get me excited to see what they do with him in the Insomniac game.
Pardon the interruption. Would you care to see my latest trophies?
Now I got morbidly excited here thinking this was their take on Morbius, but sadly it ended up being Piranha, who was actually in the first game, which I've not played. This game has a lot of suits and we need to get max level on every one. So during the story, anytime I had fully leveled my suit, we went back to the house to change. As for the side stuff in the game, there's a bunch of crimes we need to deal with and we need to do 10 of each. We also need to take 30 pictures, there's 15 races and 12 combat challenges. There's also a bunch of hideouts we need to do and we need to complete one of them fully in stealth.
The spider! Come quickly!
We failed and got spotted on our first attempt.
Build some amazing.
Oh wait, never mind, I guess we didn't get spotted. By doing the hideouts we unlocked some cool suits. And to finish out the story, we defeated Black Cat, Craven, Kingpin. How good is this animation, by the way? Electro, and Goblin.
Oh.
Before getting to the final level, which we would end up doing a lot. And in the final boss fight, we set Carnage on fire and got trophies for beating the game, and beating it on easy, normal, and hard.
Let me die.
That's not the answer.
Your Uncle Ben, he was one of the best people I ever knew. Everyone loved him. He had an amazing life, right? So Why do you want to make it all about how it ended? What counts isn't how he died, Peter. What matters is really the way he lived.
And just like the film, the game ends on a post-credit scene that will never go anywhere.
What happens now? Now, the real work begins.
Now we'd finished the game, it was cleanup time. Collect audio logs. Take investigative photos.
That's a funeral later. Couldn't have. Gotcha. Good shot. He's a heck of a...
Get the last comic page, and complete every hideout to unlock more suits. We also have to complete every race, where you basically just point at the checkpoint and push R1.
Definitely having a renaissance, but it's still got gangs, which is not good in a gang war.
And stop all sorts of petty crimes. Obviously, I sped past it all here, but that took about 2 hours, and we now had 12 combat challenges to do. And along the way to killing our 500th enemy, I realised that doing the seismic blast and the floor takedown was the fastest way to defeat enemies. And after an hour, we'd finished the challenges and only had 1 trophy left. So we've took 6 hours to finish the story, and in 9 hours to almost platinum the game. So leave a comment guessing how long it would take me to max out all the suits and get the last trophy. I'll give you a clue. It is a long time. There's no consensus on the best way to get XP. Some people said that doing the deadlocks was good, but the enemies are spread out, and after you finish one, you need to go all the way to the next one. So I went with the other method, which is just doing the last mission again, and again, and again. When you get to this section, you seismic blast take down all of the enemies, and once you've got the experience, you can reload from the checkpoint. And you just do this over and over and over again. For context, there's 13 suits, and they take about 40 minutes each to level up. So you're looking at about 8 hours of grinding, but that's not including the NXP that you might have got from the story. Thankfully, it's easy in menial, so you can watch a film or TV show as you do it, you don't need to be focused on the game. And thankfully, as I was playing the game, Adam McDermott uploaded a 3.5 hour long Q&A, which kept me sane. But I did have to split this up into multiple sessions. While we're here, if you made it this far into the video, I hope you're all enjoying Spider-Man 2. Hopefully when this video uploads, I'll already be playing it. I most likely won't do a video on it just because I want to play it on the big TV, because the 40Hz VRR mode for Ragnarok looked amazing, and Spider-Man 2 is going to have it too, so I just want to like enjoy it, you know. But I'm sure there'll be plenty of videos on it for you guys to watch, and we've got Alan Wake 2 coming out next week as well. It's a very cool time for video games. And speaking of Alan Wake, you guys voted on it, and the next video will be covering the first Alan Wake game. Anyway, after hours and hours, finally we had 1 suit left. And after 14 hours, we had the platinum in the amazing Spider-Man 2.